Innovation. Oh, getting his Cyclone upgrade. Let's see what he does with this.
Yeah, Innovation's going to come in here with a pretty interesting approach. Kira seems to be opening up with one of the more standard openings you see in TVT. Tacking up, getting the factory, the Starport, and the command center.
Banshee speed. That's interesting, isn't it?
I was not expecting that at this part of the game.
No, I was certainly not expecting that.
Is this a reaction to him seeing the Cyclone?
Are they both going mech? Kira's going mech.
Oh, wow, we're going to actually have a mech versus mech game.
Yeah, like a Banshee mech against a regular mech. Oh, this is so cool. Well, this series is already going to be longer than our last one.
So mech is always the alternative unit composition to the bio play. Mech style is as old as Starcraft is. All the way going back to Starcraft 1, there was always a debate over what kind of unit compositions do you want, you know? And it turns out, for instance, in Starcraft 1, you want to go mech against Protoss. You don't want to go bio at all. It's just an inferior unit comp. In StarCraft 2, it can be much more up in the air depending. Bio seems to be the more favored approach, but mech is doable.
Yeah.
And of course, when you're playing against mech, it requires a completely different set of skills and knowledge. So some players are better against mech than others. And it's always a fun thing to see who's going to go mech. And then you get in a situation like this where it's mech versus mech with air support here.
Which is going to be even less practice for most of these guys.
Yeah, we're getting into some pretty abstract games here.
Yeah, mech is more rare than regular bio tank. And then it's obviously that makes it even more rare to have both players go for it. So it's going to be like a Banshee-based mech against a Cyclone-based mech to start at least. Seems to me that Innovation doing a pretty good job so far. He's gotten a lot of SCV kills with those Liberators. Still roaming about a bit.
As long as the Cyclones can get the right angles where they're not under that targeted area. Oh, I actually got it, wow. Then you can take out those Liberators pretty easily. So now we have enough Banshees out with speed. It's very hard to catch up to these units. But we need to see how much damage they're actually going to deal as well. It's a big investment getting that many Banshees and the speed upgrade. You have to make sure they pay for themselves. We've got armories thrown down on both sides. It does look like Innovation is in a slight upgrade lead. That'll matter the moment the upgrades finish. If they take a fight and you have 1-1 and they don't, or you have 2-2 and they have 1-1, it's a huge difference.
You know, with mech versus mech, the upgrades, they don't have breakpoints like they do in StarCraft 1, where it's a massive change. Obviously, it makes a difference. But, like, I would say that out of all matchups you have, like Marine versus Marine, if you're up 2 upgrades, you can't lose, you know? Your Marines live longer and they kill quicker. With mech versus mech, like especially Siege Tank versus Siege Tank, it's not quite like that. But obviously, you're always going to want those upgrades.
See the Cyclones chasing these away now. Again, they haven't really done enough damage.
They haven't really done anything, right? Like, they have few SCVs, but it's a...
It is also a tactical pin, though. Like, they can't leave too much, but I don't know if that's worth it.
You can, like...
You don't really
have
to leave, though.
Yeah, you're playing mech anyways.
Yeah, it's like, fine, you know.
Yeah.
You weren't thinking, oh, damn, I'm going to push out with my 110 supply mech army and win now, except that your Banshees are here.
Yeah.
And the tank is basically the great Terran unit. In so many circumstances, you know, its range is so incredible, and if you know, you can end up hitting something and they have to attack into you to fight back, it's very good.
So Siege Tanks get it up on top of this planetary. Very, very annoying. Kira is not really in position to defend against this well, and I love this type of move. You know, it's so hard to deal with as Kira to clean that.
Yeah.
Especially with mech. Like, it's a small mech group, so if you had bio, for instance, you could make a big arc and just kind of stim in there and kill it off. But here it's like, okay, do you walk your Siege Tanks forward? That's going to be messy.
And just hitting the command center. Of course, the planetary, you don't want to get right on top of it. It does too much damage.
Definitely dealing a lot of damage to it right now.
Is he not going to repair that in time? I didn't see many SCVs down there.
I think he'll save it. I think he.
Oh yeah,
maybe he's waiting for those BCs. He does have BCs popping out right now.
Okay, he's going to come down here and wipe this little force out. Oh my God, he got the CC
He did
though.
get it. Look
How
at that.
funny.
Well, he built another CC nearby, so maybe he'll just float that over.
Yeah, but that really slows down the income here for Cure.
Yeah,
I mean, that's one of those things that, I mean, that's his fault for losing that, you know?
There's a huge BC advantage right now for Cure, but is that going to matter when Innovation kind of has more of the map? He has more map control. He's able to do things like make a bunch of Vikings, so it feels like he should be able to trade reasonably well, because basically Cure is... like, his back is up against the wall. He needs to get out there and get more expansions, but he's not very mobile. He's very slow and very strong, whereas Innovation has control right now.
Yeah, I think this critical point where Innovation can do a power grab and take even more of the map is very important. He also has enough supply that he can start to try to trade in with this.
Yeah, look at this. So he runs up, takes a bunch of hits with the Hellions, sets up his Liberators, and now is trying to push back the Siege Tanks so his Cyclones can come up and fight. That was pretty cost inefficient from Innovation, I would say. It was not like the perfect... I see what the idea is here, but it did not seem perfectly done.
There's a lot of minerals banked up here for Cure. He was actually over 2K just a little bit ago. The funny thing about when you're going mech versus mech is you can get Hellions. They're not that great, but sometimes we have what's called a mineral dump, where you just have to spend your money on something. By the way, another big attack coming in here, and it seems like each and every time there's just enough BCs to drive this away. But I think Innovation's goal here is to try to keep this number low overall. But are we even really seeing Battlecruisers get killed off at any high numbers? It seems like they just jump away and then you repair it, and obviously that's a trade that's going to be much better for Cure.
Well, we've seen a few die, and it should be noted that with the mag field, this many Cyclones will actually kill a BC so quickly if enough lock on that it won't be able to jump away. But what we're seeing is Cure is sitting in a very defensive posture where he's got siege tanks underneath the BCs. So the Cyclones are getting murdered every time they try to run in there. So I feel like what we're seeing here is Innovation is pushing a little bit too aggressively, but at the same time, you have to be a little bit nervous about your opponent that's already started on that endgame tech. That allows him to take his bases a little bit more slowly than Innovation, who's really sucking down these minerals and gas to try to fuel this army that he's trying to be very aggressive with.
I love the usage of these Liberators here to pop over these tanks and just gun them down, and then to use the Cyclones to try to target the BCs. This is actually one of the most unique TDTs we've ever been able to cast ourselves. We just don't get games like this.
No, we certainly do not.
Again, more BCs are being taken out, and you were totally right, man. When you get enough of those Cyclones targeting a BC, there's no input that you can do to get them out fast enough. You can't fly away quick enough. You can't warp quick enough.
So this is a war of compositions right now. We have Liberators to try to take out siege tanks so that Cyclones can lock on to BCs. Then we have siege tanks trying to zone out the Cyclones so that the BCs can beat everything else. Again, like, Cure is trying to get the best stuff, but I like the way Innovation's approaching this in a lot of ways. Look at this. He's going to be able to disable so many BCs.
Oh, my God.
And then the BCs can be taken out very quickly.
And now he can walk in on these tanks here. I don't think a single tank's going to get a shot off. No, they're all just destroyed basically for free.
Now that's efficient. We've seen a lot of inefficient moves from Innovation, but that was something else.
Well, that was basically, he got everything for free. And I think he can actually keep doing it. There's enough Ravens that
as long as he has mana.
Yeah.
If you disable the tanks, your army absolutely destroys. The tanks and the BCs have to work together.
Oh, man, now these Thors are approaching in here. Good disables here. Doesn't look like he has any more, but yeah, you can disable before Yamato comes out.
Yeah.
And just mute that ability.
And you disable the tanks so your army isn't getting pelted. And look at that. He pushed him back once again. Innovation continuing to expand. So he's got every base on his half. Cure does not have every base on his half, but again, that is not necessarily the most important thing. The important thing is that Innovation doesn't get them, right? You can take the game very slowly if you're using Yamato and siege tanks.
It seems like Cure is hard locking himself out of development here. He's just remaking the Battlecruisers.
Yeah, he's just trying to make this very efficient composition. I would like to see him add just a little tiny bit more in than what he has.
I agree. There's going to be another attack coming down here. What I'm noticing with this is that it does appear that Innovation has the ability to actually move in on positions. And I mean, for instance, Kira's going to attack that top location, but again, then there's nothing to defend over here. And you know, when you disable all of these tanks, well, hold on, is he going to actually be able to get up here and
so
kill
many
these
tanks coming in, man. Like I guess he gets some of the SCVs and stuff. He uses so many disables. At the end of the day, the mobility of these BCs that can jump away actually came out on top there.
Thors need to be able to jump too, just like the BCs. What do you think?
Absolutely. We should just have every unit able to jump.
Yeah.
That's
anything that's mechanical.
ooh, just gets that one out in time.
Well, Cure is keeping this smaller foothold on the map that he has, but I think now, as Cure is close to maxing out, he wants to take a fight, and there's going to be some kind of an engagement here. It doesn't seem like, especially after all the Raven spells that were cast, I don't think there's enough disables to make it doable to fight these tanks here.
Yeah, you gotta wait a bit, right? That's a big part of it. Also, let's not forget Yamato's on a big cooldown, and so is Tactical Jump. So there's a lot of different cooldowns that we're waiting for mana to recharge and all that as well, to try to have these perfectly efficient fights, which is, it's awesome. They're both like trying to have perfectly efficient fights with completely different unit compositions.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
And none of them are perfectly efficient because they're both fighting each other in that way.
Now, the BCs and the tanks, it's weird to say, are literally less mobile than even Thor's moving around.
Yeah.
And so you're actually having like a Thor counterattack.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's very true, though. Innovation has gone for a very mobile set of units, and Kier is doing the very slow set of units. Look at that. It sets up a single Liberator saying you cannot repair that anymore.
Do not try to repair that.
These Liberators are killers. That's amazing. You see that?
Yeah.
He's like got one on the left pushing back tanks. He's got one on the right stopping SCVs from repairing the planetary.
Dude, 3-3 is about to finish here. And now we have, again, Innovation trying to push in wherever there is no presence here for Cure. Is he going to try to take this fight?
Well, he's going to disable absolutely everything. Look at how much mana he has on these Ravens. Just madness.
It's all static over here for Cure.
It's funny, though, because he doesn't range as far as his opponent, right? Like, he disables a bunch of siege tanks, but eventually the line is so deep that he has to turn around.
The siege tank number is so high that the tanks in the front that are killed are just cannon fodder for the ones in the back that eventually will...
Oh my god,
oh my
he just
god.
disabled so many tanks right there.
Can he actually kill this off and tap out GG? Innovation takes game 2.
What an awesome, awesome game. I love so much